Hey friends, hope you're well. In this video, I'll share my minimal iPhone setup that has decluttered my phone and actually gives me time back rather than sapping time away from our precious day. The average person spends a huge 5 to 6 hours on their phone, so here are the setting changes, the home screen setup, and helpful apps that should bring you more time, peace, and a distraction-free iPhone setup that you'll swear by. I'll also share some iOS 26 settings worth changing, but if you're not using iOS 26, that's fine. All of these tips will work for most iPhones and older iOS, so let's just get right into it. The first setting that I like to change is I like to set up app time limits. So to do this, go into settings and then screen time and then app limits. Then I'd recommend capping usage for apps like Instagram, TikTok, or any app that you feel like you're wasting a lot of time on. So now when you hit that time limit, a screen appears saying you've reached your time limit, which is a really useful reminder that, hey, you've already spent an hour on Instagram today, for example, and this really helps reduce that temptation to doom scroll. Next is disabling Siri and app suggestions. So back in settings, go to Apple Intelligence and Siri, then scroll down and toggle off all the suggestions here. I find that this helps create a cleaner and less noisy UI because Siri suggestions is there to literally keep you on your iPhone for longer. And personally, I want to get what I need to do done on the iPhone without it suggesting to also check out all of these other apps. When it comes to calls and messages, these are important, but I always silence unknown callers. To do this, all you need to do is go into apps, then phone, then scroll down to silence unknown callers. So now when this is on, unknown numbers are sent straight to voicemail, and I figure if it's actually important, they'll follow up anyway. And there's a new iOS 26 setting that I'll show you in just a moment that even improves on this feature. The next thing I do is customize the message notifications so you only get pinged for the most important stuff. To do this, go into apps and messages, notifications. Then here I leave on the critical and time sensitive alerts, but I also turn off the notification announcements here. Then I turn off the show previews for messages here as well. Then going into customized notifications, I turn off repeat alerts and turn off notifications for unknown senders, but leave on emergency contact alerts. This way I am not distracted throughout the workday and I'll batch my message checks after work, but still get really important or time-sensitive messages. Speaking of notifications, it is definitely worth going into the notification settings, then manually going through your apps here and turning off all the non-essential notifications and only leaving notifications on for apps like Gmail, your calendar app, and anything else that you absolutely need notifications for. So turning most of these off feels awesome because there's just so much less clutter on my iPhone through the day, and I'm only pinged for genuinely useful or important updates. It really changes my relationship with the phone. The next setting is worth switching on if you want your iPhone's user interface to be ultra minimal. So to do this, go into settings, then accessibility, and then motion. At the top here, toggle on reduce motion, and this will reduce unnecessary animations to make your phone feel a whole lot simpler and snappier. It's definitely not for everyone, especially if you enjoy the animations, but it's especially useful if you're using an older iPhone. The next one is definitely worth setting up, and this is focus modes. I find it the easiest way to manage notifications without turning everything off. So go into settings, notifications, and focus, and then focus. This is where you can set up focus modes for certain times and only certain notifications will appear. I've got mine set up so work mode starts 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. every weekday, so only certain work app notifications will pop through and certain people will get through to me, otherwise it's heads down. Then personal mode kicks in after 6 p.m. That's when all the notifications I missed throughout the day will come up in one whole batch. And then there's sleep mode, which is almost similar to do not disturb mode. I also have the share across devices box ticked, so it's the same across all my Apple devices and I'm not getting distracted on my Mac as well. Okay, so now we've got the base settings done. Here are some interesting iOS 26 settings that are definitely worth turning on. If you're not using iOS 26, you can feel free to skip ahead, or you can also continue watching if you're just curious about iOS 26. And I'm actually curious, what do you think about the new liquid glass design on iOS 26? Screen messages is a new feature that actually reduces spam and unwanted messages. And to turn this on, open the Messages app in Settings, then scroll down to Unknown Senders, then toggle on Screen Unknown Senders. Then tap Allow Notifications and leave on verification codes because they're necessary. And I've untoggled Other. So now there's automatic filtering of messages and they're moved to an unknown senders tab. So the main messages tab is just focused on friends and family. Next is the updated call screening feature, which literally helps manage calls for you and actually saves you quite a bit of time. So go into the iPhone settings and scroll down to the new calls from unknown numbers section and toggle this on. Now your iPhone will literally intercept calls from unknown numbers and ask them to identify themselves and state their purpose. And then your iPhone will send you a live transcription on screen. Super useful. Next, switch on adaptive battery mode, a new mode that learns your usage habits and adjusts iPhone performance and battery dynamically to extend the battery life. To turn it on, go into settings, then battery, then go down to power mode, and then switch on the new adaptive power mode. Now you can get more out of your phone on the same charge. Now, one of the areas that we most frequently see on the iPhone is the home screen and the lock screen. And here's what I find is the best setup when it comes to those areas. So it's less distracting and it helps boost productivity when you do use your phone. First is a small change with big impact, and that's removing all the notification red dots, or what I like to call anxiety dots. I personally find these unnecessary, and it looks like the home screen is a sort of slot machine that screams you've got stuff to check. So to remove this, open settings, scroll to home screen and app library, toggle all notification badges off, and poof, the badges are gone for a more peaceful home screen. I also like to arrange the dock strategically to only like 2 to 3 of my most used valuable apps. For me, these are just the phone, the messages, and Safari apps. This helps keep the home screen simple and clean. I approach the rest of the home screen with the same thought process too. I only keep and use the daily apps on the home screen, and I don't leave any addictive apps here like social media or games. It might also be worth adding the screen time widget right onto your home page if you're glued to your phone and you want a reminder how long you spent on your phone whenever you open up to the home page. So with the lock screen here, I've added essentially widgets up the top like temperature, my Tesla charge, and sunset time for the day. And then if we hold down, it's also worth creating multiple lock screens for different focus modes. For example, you could have a darker work mode with only time and calendar widgets. I've also turned off all live activities for apps that might be distracting, like sports apps. I only use them for truly helpful stuff like Uber ETAs and timers. And you can do this by going to the app settings, then toggling off live activities. And there's also the option here to reduce the number of live activity updates by toggling this off if you find it too distracting, but you don't want to remove it entirely. Also, I'd say wallpapers completely change the vibe and feel of your iPhone, so it's worth spending time finding a clean wallpaper you like. If you want to support this channel, I've linked my wallpaper sets below in the description box. And then here are some of the apps I swear by as part of the non-distracting setup. The first thing I recommend you do is go on an app purge, and I cannot recommend this enough. Like literally on the home page, just swipe right to your app library and then go through everything and delete everything you're not using to declutter and also get some precious memory space back. Then definitely check out an app called OneSec. I've recommended on the channel a few times, but if you don't know of it, the goal of this app is pretty simple. It's there to help you stop mindless scrolling on social media. So once you install this app and then you launch Instagram or Facebook, for example, what happens is the OneSec app will kick in and tell you to just take a second and then breathe. And then it'll ask you, hey, do you actually really want to open this app? And it'll also show you the amount of times you open this app today, which is a pretty effective guilt trip. So the simple reminder makes me realize, hey, I don't actually want to open this app. I don't actually need to check Instagram. I'm just wasting precious time. So let me put this away, or let me swipe out of this app and I'll just continue doing what I'm supposed to do instead. Next is Headspace. It's a really popular meditation app that you've likely already heard of, but it's added heaps of value to my daily routine. Meditating with this app has just added a lot of joy every morning and helps me reshape my relationship with not just my phone, but everything around me. Everything feels a whole lot more peaceful after a 15-minute meditation. So I'll leave a video on screen to a bunch of free iPhone apps that are definitely worth checking out, and comment iOS 26 and I'll give your comment a like because I know you've made it to the very end of this video. And as always guys, thanks for watching and I'll see you in the next video.